Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolescence and welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm actually really excited about this one. This is the winner of my subscribers choice video. So you guys voted. Thank you so much for casting your votes, and today I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys my thoughts on what is probably the most famous fragrance by Tower Perfumes. This one is number 2, L'air du Desert Marocain. So here's the bottle. This one is of course a 2005 release. It's been out for 10 years now, and the perfumer behind this composition is of course the in-house perfumer, the founder of the company and creative director himself, Andy Tower. Now this is the second offering in the line. The first one is called Le Maroc pour Elle, and this was actually, believe it or not, it was made as a lighter version of Le Maroc pour Elle. Now the name L'air du Desert Marocain, it translates to the air of the Moroccan desert. And that is precisely the concept behind this one. It was a fragrance that was meant to evoke being in the Moroccan desert. So you have the spices in the background, there's like a subtle sweetness, maybe some cookies being baked off in the distance. You have notes like caraway and coriander with cedarwood and a little bit of vanilla, I think, because there is an amber accord. So it's a really well done scent. Actually happens to be one of my favorites, so I'm letting you guys know, giving you a little bit of insight as to what you can expect from this review. But Andy Tower is a genius with this one. He is a chemist. He actually has a degree in chemistry, so he knows how to utilize certain ingredients so that they work really well in synergy and harmony with the other ingredients. There are actually two different lines. So this is the standard line, the numbered line. He actually has another line too called Towerville. So that one releases fragrances in very short bursts. So there's a vanilla offering, an incense offering, a rose offering, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this one. It's classified as an Oriental spicy, but I want us to start things off by taking a look at the presentation. So the fragrance comes in this pentagonal aluminum tin. It has a sticker up here with the name of the fragrance, very much like the bottle. It's in the right shoulder of the bottle there. So you have the logo here on the front. It's embossed into the aluminum. You have the sticker that comes all the way around, another sticker indicating which fragrance in the collection you purchased, and then it also has the notes here on the back, the ingredients, some more information. You can actually pull this off. I don't want to. I'm not sure what's behind it, and I'm not going to do it. So if you know what's behind it, leave a comment down below. And also when you open this up, you see the reverse embossed tower. Here, you have a card on the inside with some personalization, which is really cool because Andy Tower signs all of the fragrances. So it says immersive sculptures. The presentation did actually change somewhat. There are some other reviewers who have reviewed this more recently who showed the newer presentation. I actually think it has improved somewhat, but he wrote enjoy and then his name right below that. And then on the inside, you have the silhouette of the bottle in there on this foam padding, rests in there very securely. I love the presentation on this one, very well done. And then as far as the bottle goes, here it is. Very much like the box, you have the sticker here with the name of the fragrance, L'air du Desert Marocain. This is classified as an eau de toilette intense. Not sure what the difference is between intense and regular eau de toilette. Sticker at the bottom with the same information. The cap is a wooden cap. It comes off. After a while, this rubber grommet, I don't know what you want to call it, it actually starts to come off. So just be careful when you're putting the cap back on. Instead of pressing it down, I would just turn it until you can get it to go back in there completely. But cap comes off. The distribution on the atomizer is excellent. So you can spray it close up, no qualms there. And that was a presentation for L'air du Desert Marocain by Tower Perfumes. So my friend Carlos writes, this is in my top 10 ever. I absolutely adore it. And Hasnat calls this one true expression captured into a bottle. I need to get my hands on this again in the new year. So when we're talking about the smell, there's a little bit of a confusion over what notes are in this fragrance. And I think one of the reasons why we're having such a hard time pinpointing what we smell is because it's so masterfully blended. And I'm not just saying that. I don't speak hyperbole when I say that. I think that Andy Tower did a fantastic job in putting this fragrance together. But I think a lot of that confusion is also attributed to the websites that list the certain notes. Like, for example, if you go on Fragrantica and you read the notes contained therein, you're going to see ambergris. But when you look at the little icon, it says amber. So what is it, amber or ambergris? Now, those are two very different notes. Ambergris ambergris comes from sperm whale. It has an animalistic smell, but then amber is an accord comprised of different resins like vanilla, labdanum, benzoin, galbanum, some other resins, and amber is actually a fantasy note. So while one smells animalistic, the other one smells kind of sweet and resinous and rich and deep. Now with this fragrance, you get the sweet, the resins, the richness, the deepness, so you get that depth, and it's because it does contain amber. Now, I'm not going to say that it doesn't contain ambergris, because it may very well have it somewhere in the background, and because this fragrance does last a very long time on my skin, it would not come as a surprise to me that it does contain ambergris, and I really do think it does. Now, this fragrance doesn't smell animalistic to my nose. Some people might be inclined to say it smells animalistic, and I think that's because it smells daring and challenging, but I think that's because of the spices. So like I said, there's caraway, there's coriander, it has some culinary overtones to it, which I think is really what allows this fragrance to fall within that concept and makes one think, wow, this is executed really well. But it's also daring for that reason as well. So some people might view this as a novelty scent, almost a scent that you would smell just so you can get transported to a different location, so you can let your fantasy run wild, whereas some people find some practical, pragmatic use from it. I fall right in the middle. I think that this is a really great expression of art, but at the same time, this is something that I'm proud to wear in public. Now, it is a little bit daring, like I said, and it is challenging, not just because of the spices, but, you know, the presence of the resins that come together to form the amber accord, as well as the vetiver and some other ingredients in there. I know jasmine is listed as a note. It doesn't come across rather strongly, and jasmine is rather fecal smelling in some cases and indolic. In the case of this fragrance, it doesn't smell like that. So I think that this one is very wearable, but you have to wear it in the right occasions. And I think that one of the challenges lies in finding the appropriate occasions in which to wear this one. So we're going to tackle that a little bit later on. But I do want to conclude by saying that I think the most genius thing that Andy Tauer did with this fragrance is he decided to call it L'air du Desert Marocain. He could have very easily called this one amber and spices, but would it have gotten as popular? Absolutely not. I think there are a lot of great fragrances out there that could have made it bigger. You know, they could have gotten popular. And for me, it's because they didn't take the time to utilize a more artistic approach with their fragrances. It kind of reminds me of what was done in classical music, where it's called sonata in B minor or whatever. And, you know, it's rather simplistic. It doesn't really conjure up any images in your mind. It sort of just describes the song the very same way that the names of perfumes just describe the perfume. But I want you to transport me. I want you to allow images to be evoked and conjured in my mind. And that's precisely what this fragrance does. So the fact that he chose to name it L'air du Desert Marocain, I think, is one of the most artistic, most genius things that Andy Tauer has done. And I hope he continues to do this with his newer offerings. It's not something that he's been doing with the Tauroville line, but hopefully he continues to do this with this line, like Saute la Luna, which means howl at the moon. So I think it's definitely heading in a really good direction. So let's finish things off by taking a look at the rating. So first up, we have uniqueness and overall smell. Now the uniqueness on this one is very high, but the overall smell is challenging. So while this is what I consider to be one of the most unique fragrances that I've ever gotten my nose on, at the same time, it is a rather challenging scent, and because of that reason, it kind of brings down the wearability and the versatility a bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. As far as longevity is concerned, 10 plus hours. Longevity is the best that it could possibly be. Projection is 10 plus hours as well, of it radiating off your skin quite heavily. You're going to need to wash this one off. For some people, it's a good thing because you want to get the most bang for your buck and the most out of your fragrances. For some people, it's a bad thing because it is such a challenging scent that they feel like they don't want it to be that loud. They kind of wish that it were a little more subtle. As far as versatility is concerned, it's not the most versatile scent. I hate to say that right off the bat. I think that this is a great scent to wear around the house, especially to appreciate it for its aesthetic merit and its artistic expression, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't wear this to work because I feel like I might choke somebody out. I wouldn't wear this on a date because that's posing too much of a risk, and I would probably wear this one in a shirt and tie, but even then I wouldn't over apply. I might do like 1 to 2 sprays just to allow those around me to sort of get a whiff of it without allowing them to be completely immersed in the smell. And I wouldn't recommend it for somebody who's younger. I would say maybe even like 30 and up. I was going to say 25 and up, but maybe 30 and up, because it does carry forth with it a certain maturity. And I would only wear this in the colder seasons. I wouldn't wear this one in the dead of summer. And lastly, as far as presentation goes, everything from the personalization to the atomizer. The cap could be a little bit better, but I love everything about it. The pentagonal box. I think the presentation on this one is excellent. If I were to give this one an overall score, I hate to do this, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Personally, in my eyes, this is a 10 out of 10, but if we're looking at it from a practical, sort of pragmatic point of view, I think that the versatility is severely compromised, but it's kind of like Secretions Magnifique by Tal Libre d'Orange, where it really is an artistic expression, but you can't really find, you know, the right occasions to wear it in. It's the same thing with this one. This one is not... You're not going to have as much of an aversion to it. I think it's actually a very intriguing, I think it's a beautiful, hypnotizing smell, but it's not your standard aquatic cologne. So a lot of people aren't going to love it for that reason. But if you want something that's different, you want something that's going to make you stand out, something that's daring and challenging, I highly urge that you check this one out. It happens to be one of my favorite niche fragrances of all time. Definitely my top 10 of all time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching my review. That was my review of L'air du Désert Marocain by Tower Perfumes. If you own or have tried this scent, please let me know what you think. Please leave a comment down below. I would love to read your comment and respond to it. And don't forget to subscribe for future reviews just like this one. I also have top 10s, giveaways, and unboxings coming up on my channel. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. This has been Stephen with another fragrance review from Rattle Essence. We'll see you soon.